So, good evening. So last class we actually stopped at the script which allowed us to get statistical information about the site availability. Okay. So what happens is that we use the same LW module simple, okay, because this is one of a few LW modules which allow us to download the website in HTML code. And also, besides that, allows us to get a response code. Okay? Even without downloading and looking at the HTML code, we can say what the server response was. If it's 200, 400, 500, whatever, we can say if the site is available or not, the web page is available or not. But in addition to that, when we're downloading the site using this get method, and here we specify going to the Yahoo site, what I would like to do is just measure time, how much time it takes to get the Yahoo page. Okay, that was the idea. And we also agreed that measuring time with the 1 second resolution is not enough because it will not give you the accurate picture of the performance of the site. Okay, in the sense that if, for example, the developer increased the performance of the site by say 10–15%, you can easily miss that because that will basically be buried under the error. Okay, yes. So, and also this method is actually superior to other methods in the sense that we are not relying on any browser. Okay, we don't use browser here. So what we are measuring is we are measuring time to send a request to the server. Time. In addition to that, we measure also time for the server to take. How much time it takes for the server to get that page, whatever we're requesting, and send that page back to us. And then at the moment when we receive the page completely, we measure that. Okay? In that case, this content will be, variable content will contain the HTML code of that page. So this is actually much better than other methods because we are not relying on browser, we're relying only exclusively on the network card of our machine and the server. Okay? These are three factors which affect the time. Okay? So it means that if you like to make comparison with the previous results, you have to make that measurement exactly on the same machine, or at least make sure that you have the same network card. Because if you change the network card, time will be different, and the same connection. Because if you change the connection, that will be different. And also what we can do with this script is just measure the performance because they can change the software on that server, they can improve the performance, hopefully, not degrading that. So in that case, yes, you are going to measure exact performance improvement or degradation pretty clearly and very fast, okay? Without writing a very comprehensive script. You see that we have total of 18–19 lines of code, but these 18 and 19 lines allows us to get great information, very statistical report. So the problem was we're experiencing was this time high resolution module, which they made commercial, but if we upgrade Perl to 5.14 version because we have 5.12, then we could install this time high resolution and ask Konstantin to install it, so we'll find next time. Sorry, this script is not going to work this time. Okay, so we'll postpone once more to the next lesson. So what also we mentioned here that this is actually performance of the website, but also we can test other stuff as well. Okay, for example, we can test a portion of the code which is basically HTML code. Okay, if HTML code is written correctly. So two items which I mentioned before was alt attribute, the presence of alt attribute, and presence of title. Okay, so essentially we agree that every HTML page should contain title. Okay, so your website may contain multiple pages, may contain 1,000 pages, or these pages might be generated dynamically. It doesn't matter. So you can go ahead and have a list of these pages which you like to navigate to, and you can create a script which will automatically check these items for you. That's what we are going to do next. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. So I'm going to create a new script, and let's call this script say as HTML code check. HTML code check. You can name it differently. quotas in the chest, whatever. That will be PL. I forgot, did we cover this W flag before?
Yes.
Or not? Okay, good. So the strict also will cover that. So essentially in 2 words, what strict does, I just repeat that. Strict actually enforces the rule that every variable we use in a script must be declared. That's what it is. Okay, this is essentially pragma. What pragma is that it's basically translated to the normal plain English language, means global setting or environmental settings. Okay, it's not exactly that, but for our understanding, that would be probably correct statement. You will have different pragmas. We also have pragma integer, for example. Integer pragma forces that all numeric values you use in your script will be regarded as integers, as a whole number. Okay, you have approximately 30 different pragmas, but out of these 30, strict probably most one. I mean, we are going to use all this. Okay, so we introduced it not for the first in the first lesson because I didn't like to overload you with information, but nevertheless, take as a rule, every time you create a Perl script, please use this strict pragma. Okay, otherwise it might be a mess. Okay, so what happens here, I also use LWP simple method, which allows me to go and navigate to the web pages. Okay, this is essentially a module which allows me to retrieve web pages anytime web page I like. So what I like to do now is I like to navigate to a couple of pages and test their code. Okay, so but first on the page I say, let me see, will be my test page, and then let it be the same HTTP Yahoo. Okay, so what I would like to do also, just like to navigate to this page and verify that this page contains title. Okay, for that purpose, I have to use regular expression because searching the whole text, I don't know exactly what the title will be, but I know the title will be encapsulated in the title tag, opening and closing one. That's what I'm going to look for. Okay, so here I'm saying my content. Again, these are your variables. Some people say, should it be called content or should it be called a test page? Absolutely not. This is the way how you name them. Most importantly, they have to contain this sigil, $sign sigil, which means that these variables are capable of storing only single value, scalar value. This basically tells you that. $sign means scalar value, single value. And I'm getting this page by using method get, which is the part of the LWP simple. This is not a Perl built-in method get, it's a part of LWP simple. If I don't use this LWP simple, I will not be able to use get. Okay. So and then I'm saying this will be test page. And here we go. We already have the page. I don't need to open and close anything else. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to match saying if this content contains title. Okay. I'm saying if my content contains. So for matching operator, we use the small letter M, and here in this in this parenthesis, you specify your regular expression. You have to provide a magic formula or basically some phrase which will be written in regular expression terms. Okay. Now this operator M means matching. You basically perform match. Now M operator is optional. You write it, you don't write it, it will work anyway. In most of the cases you don't see this M, but that's okay. Also, sometimes it is possible that part of your regular access will be the /. Okay, in that case, that will be a very big confusion because regular expression expects, or actually this syntax expects, that it will be 2 /. One is opening for regular expression, one is ending. And if your part of your regular expression is part of the phrase which you write, you have the /, that might be big confusion. In that case, this syntax allows you to specify any character instead of /, whatever you like. I can put, for example, 2 pound signs. or two exclamation mark, anything you like. It's up to you. This is completely optional, but only one reservation. If you use characters other than /, you have to use this M operator. Otherwise, it doesn't work. M operator only optional when you use /. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Okay. Personally, I don't like it, but it is doable. Okay, it's possible. Alternatively, if you use / and part of your regular expression contains /, then you have to prepend with a backslash, like this. In this case, my regular expression says, I'm looking for / in my text. Okay? But since the /, this character, which is highlighted now, is a part of the matching syntax, then I simply cannot use this as is. Okay? So I have to prepend with the backslash, I have to tag float. Okay? One way or another. Alternatively to this syntax, I'm going to write it on a above line here. It will be like this. That will be, for example, $, and this is $. Okay, something like this. You can write it the way it is written on line 9, or you can do it as line 10. Okay, but you know what? Introducing additional options into regular expression sometimes might be confusing. So it's better to stick to these /. Okay, so whenever you can. So this is, but you can use different syntax as well. This is just explanation of it. Okay, so I'm going to comment this guy so we can have it. Okay. So what I'm looking here, I'm looking for following syntax. I'm saying I'm looking for title. After the title might be some characters, right? Because title might be specified, might be not specified, correct? Because it might be some title and then empty, nothing there, and then closing title. And closing title definitely will be like this, because closing title has /. I have to prepend it with a backslash. I'm talking about this syntax. Okay? So it means that I'm looking for opening and closing title, and I'm looking for some characters, but I'm not sure if the character will be there or not. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking for 0 characters or more. So 1 dot means any character except new line. Okay? Because 1 dot is a dot in this particular case. This is, I'm highlighting this. Dot in a regular expression means any character except new line. So it means that if you have HTML code, I'm writing it like this: title. Okay, boo, and then you have closing title, it will not be matched. Okay, because you see that after boo, we have new line character. Okay, it will not be matched. Okay. Now, what's the solution? Because I cannot guarantee that my HTML code would not contain this syntax, right? So think about it. Now, we'll fix it. But by definition, it is like this. I'm saying any character except new line, and this quantifier, star as quantifier, means 0 or more. Okay. Now, characters, and then what I'm saying the match minimum number, because what happens is that if your HTML code contains this following code, I'm just putting an example. You have some phrases here, whatever, and for some reason, because it's an error or whatever, you have this syntax, for example, title, opening and closing one. Okay, what will happen is that you may think, assuming that we solve this problem of a new line, okay, you may think that a regular expression will go and grab this one, and then it will report to you, and then it also will go and grab this one and report to you. It is not. By definition, how regular expressions are working, they try to catch as big chunk as possible, okay, the biggest chunk possible. So in this case, the biggest chunk will be starting from line 14 and ending line 24. Okay, that's what regular expression will do by default. Okay, this is called greediness, and regular expressions are greedy by default. Okay, so in most of the cases, we don't need this greediness. Okay, we like to say, please go ahead and get minimum matching statement, characters for that. So in this case, I have to specify this question mark here, which means exactly what it says. go and grab minimum amount of characters matching this statement. Okay, in this case, it will grab this one, assuming that we solve the new line character. Okay? Make sense? Now it means 0 or more characters, but minimum amount until this closing title. Okay? Essentially, I will match only one title. We know that an HTML code cannot contain more than one title by definition, but let's assume it's an error in the code and we'll like to match it. Okay. So this is okay. After that, I have to specify flags, or actually the operation, how I like to match to perform. Definitely, I like the match will be done in not case sensitive mode. Okay? Because title might be specified capital case, title can be specified, I'm talking about this title. Lowercase, mixed case, whatever, you know, but HTML language is not case sensitive. So I like to say go and match in case insensitive mode, because by default, regular expression will match exactly as you write it. Okay? So it will match lowercase. I have to do that. I have to tell regular expression I specify flag after the last forward slash. I have to say I. I stands for case insensitive mode. Basically, ignore the case. Okay? I don't need to match it globally because I need to match only one first instance. Okay? And I don't specify that. By default, it will match, get the first match and will stop there. Okay? Regular expression will not go on throughout your code and get all matches unless you instruct it. By default, as soon as it finds the first match, it will be happy. Okay? It will stop there. Okay? And in this particular case, I'm happy with that scenario. Okay? And also, I am going to say that, you know what, I have dot symbol here, and that symbol does not match new line characters. Why it is the case? Because historically, when regular expression language was created, text was coming as a separate lines, and actually people were doing, they're actually searching individual lines one by one. They were not searching whole text because of limitation of computers. And that's why regular expressions actually were tuned to that situation when actually they were looking for one line. As soon as they encountered new line character, they by default stopped, and people were happy for the first period of time. Later on, they say, you know what, that's not good behavior, we'd like to override that. And here they define a flag which allows us to match new line characters. Okay? So that flag is called S, which means that please treat this statement as one single line, basically ignore new line characters, match new line characters as well. So if you remember that I have the case when we had title, I just erased too quickly, and then new title. So in this case, if I specify flag S, this regular expression will be matched because it contains new line character, but since we have this flag S, it means that treat the code as a single line, okay, it will do it, okay, for you. So basically, it will regard information as a one big chunk or big string rather than text containing multiple lines. Okay, it will go and match whole text. Okay, so okay, so says that I'm saying if this is matched, but as a QA engineer, I'm not interested in matching. I'm interested in not matching, right? Because that's what I like to report. Because if I'm analyzing 1,000 pages and every page contains title, I'm happy. I don't need to report that. I'm interested in the situation when it's not matching. Okay, so basically I have to negate this thing, negate statement, and that negation will be lying like this. Okay, exclamation mark, tilde means in a case if it does not match. Okay, what I need to do now, I need to report that, saying, you know, print title tag was not found. Okay. Set that. But also what I like to do, I like to match this title itself, right? Because as we agreed, title may be coming in the following order. Okay. In this case, title might be specified, but the value for the title tag will not be specified. Okay, that will be empty. This is as bad as if there is no title. Okay, exactly the same situation. What's the point of it? Okay, you create title tag, but don't specify value there. Exactly the same. It's better if you don't specify at all. Okay, if you can't that way. So that's why I like to see what exactly was matched in this case. So in this case, I would like to, if it's not matched, okay, so that will be next one. So this is the very first idea. Let's test it, okay? Because it's better to test small pieces rather than complete the whole script and say, you know what, it's what we have. So if you create some small piece, test it and then move forward, okay? What I'm going to do, I'm going to test this guy, and if it works, it should not supposed to print anything at all. So I can write straightforward from a script. I can say HTML code check. Yeah, it's not, nothing is printed. It means that a Yahoo page contained title. But I'm not stopped there. I have to go and verify my visual at least for the first time, just to make sure that the code was working. Because if nothing is printed, it's not consistent. 100% results. So I have to go to the Yahoo. Okay. Go to the page source and look for the title. Looking for title, and you see here title is indeed there, okay, and the title is there. Yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sounds good so far, so good. So it means that the code is working. What else I can do? I can actually I can say I'm interested also what the title is. That's what the next code is, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say else, otherwise. Again, I'm matching the same stuff, but in this case, I'm just doing the positive match. Okay. What I'm looking here, I'm looking for the value of the title. Okay. Essentially, what the value it is. Okay. In this case, in order to do that, I have to encapsulate this title in a parenthesis, or whatever stands between the tags. Okay. I don't know if it's in a value there, no value. I have to encapsulate that in a parenthesis. When I do that, Perl actually creates so-called back references, or in other words, it has a list of built-in variables, and it will assign this value, whatever the value is, to the first values in the series. Okay. Now, this is done the following. This will be done the following. I'm saying my title equals $1. So the variable which matches the very first set of parentheses will be $1, $2, $3, and so on. I have only one set of parentheses here, okay, and that's why it means that the value, whatever within the parentheses, whatever match actually is within the parentheses, will be assigned to the variable $1. $1, $2 are built in. We don't need to declare them. They are automatically there. Okay, they're called back references. Not very great name, I agree with you. Okay, it might be very confusing, but we have what we have. Okay, so in this case, I have title, and what I have to verify here is that title is not empty. Correct? So that's next test which we can do. I'm saying if this title equals empty string, because if the title is empty string, that will be matched anywhere, right? But I don't like this situation when the title is empty. So I'm saying in this, if it's the case, then I have to report a problem. I have to say value of title tag was empty. now. That's it. Okay. So far so good. Let's test that too, because again, nothing is printed. It means that the Yahoo is not correct. Now, before moving forward and adding additional checks, you may realize that our code becomes too clumsy a little bit, actually, in a sense that we are mixing everything. We're mixing the Yahoo, we're mixing this stuff, and I would like to separate this code, which actually does the verification somewhere else, because this code, as you may assume, will be repeated as soon as I have many websites. Okay, so I don't like to copy and paste all the time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in some kind of a block, and I'll give a name to that block. Okay, so every time I need to execute this code, that block will be called. So this is done in Perl using subroutines. How it is done, I create a subroutine. I call it, like, for example, test for tag correctness. Subroutine name should be lowercase. Okay, it should be one word. And then I create this subroutine, and then I put it here at the end, and well, let me indent it so it will be easy. Okay, this is my tag correctness, and what I need here, I need to get the content, because this we need to have content for this subroutine, right? So what I like to do, I like also to grab this content and put here within the subroutine, something like this. Okay. So what happens is that you provide a URL to this subroutine. Subroutine you can imagine as a black box. Okay. Let's assume you got this code which starts from line 10 and line 22 from your peer engineer. And for you, it looks like a black box because you either don't have desire or don't have time to look how it works. But since your peer is saying, it's definitely working because I tested it yesterday and it worked for me all the time, you're basically saying, okay, let's accept it's working, and don't even pay attention to that. The only condition is that if you like to test any URL, you have to provide URL to this black box. Basically, you have a black box with one hole. You put a URL in that hole, and at the end you get the result, say is it good or not, okay, from HTML point of view. So that's how you should regard this subroutine or sub. Now, quite often, it works this way, but quite often in these parentheses, people put a $sign, depending on the situation. What this $sign means, it means that this subroutine accepts one scalar value, whatever I'm sending this, okay? So it's optional again. If you don't have it, you have it. You may also completely delete this one. It will work too, okay? Perl is very flexible. Okay? You can do whatever you like. But it's a good idea to put, because you may have 3 scalars passed to the subroutine, you may have 5. It makes life a little bit easier, because looking at the subroutine name, you can immediately tell what it accepts. Okay, so it's basically, in this case, it says it accepts one scalar value. Okay? So in other words, how I'm going to use this subroutine, I'm going to use it like this. I'm saying test for type correctness, and then I'm passing this URL, not test page in this case. Okay, so I'm passing this test page to the and then it is going to work. So if I put it somewhere at the bottom of the script, somewhere here, out of mind, out of sight, kind of like this, so my code becomes very concise, saying, okay, I have this URL, I'm just passing this URL to this black box, and it's going to test. Okay, so you should regard the subroutine exactly like this. If it's working, if it's tested, ignore it. Okay, just forget about it. Just know that there is a subroutine which does that for you. Okay, so I'm going to bring the code back so you can have a look. So, visually you should regard it as this. Okay, so out of here. Okay. This is sub correctness. Just make sure that you have it correctly if you decide to use it. Okay, and just.
Okay, can we save those subroutines somewhere in different file and then use them?
It is doable, but preferably you keep in the same file.
Okay.
Okay. So if you like to share subroutines among several scripts, it is doable. Okay, perfectly doable. But in that case, you have to create a library, which will go into the area of object-oriented Perl, which we definitely don't like to touch it, because the OOP in a Perl done very ugly way. Okay, it's better not stay away from that. Okay, it's more pain than cons.
But usually in a different OOP, it's done like this. You just create a different class and then you call this function.
Yeah, in different programming languages, yes, that's how it is done, but not in Perl. In Perl, it's done very ugly way, in a sense that it's different from other languages, and it's definitely not the language you should start to look for OOP. Okay. It's a bad idea to go in that direction. Okay. Okay, so this is working. One glitch here is the following. You see that it says my content to get txt test page, but test page is this one, okay? And I'm passing it here. I'm not saying the test page. So test page is basically might be not known here, okay? That's not good. Okay, so I have to delete this guy, and this should be a parameter which I pass to the subroutine. Okay. Now, how I'm passing the parameters? Because what happens is that in this particular case, in line 8, I'm passing this value. Okay, I'm saying, go and execute my code, whatever I created, this test for tag correctness, and please accept this variable which contains the URL to it. When I'm calling this one, this subroutine check my correctness does not know anything about this. Okay, and when you're passing it here, it still does not know. You have to have some mechanism which will read that value, okay, because it's not automatically read. And this is done the following way. Every subroutine I create automatically, it has the following variable, @_ This is, as you may see, it's an array. Okay, this array contains all parameters passed to the subroutine. Okay, essentially, if I pass one parameter, that will be an array which contains one parameter. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to say my, for example, URL to test will be equal to the first item in the array, right? Correct? Because that will be the first item in the array. But you should also realize that this array, this is the array of parameters, but the very first one item of the array is scalar. It's not, it's not an array, right? So if it's a scalar, I have to use $, okay? And the problem will be done. So you're saying the very first item of the array, that will be my variable URL to test, and here I have to say also this URL to test will be URL which we are going to get, this one. After that, no complaints. Now, the only thing here which is remaining is this green underline, okay? So green underline means the following. You see that the subroutine is located below the line when it's called, okay? And Perl are actually complaining about it, saying, you know what, it's called too early, okay? Typically, in order to avoid this problem, I have to put subroutine on top of it, and this is after it, okay? Because it's first of all, it looks like a single pass, okay? Now, I don't like to do that, because if I put all my subroutines in the beginning of the script, that will be cluttered, and then my code will be at the bottom. It's very inconvenient. Ignore it, okay? Perl will handle that, no problem. Sometimes also they put, in order to suppress the service, they put this ampersand, which is meaning that this is a subroutine, it will be declared somewhere else, and this is that green is gone, okay? But personally, I don't like to do that, so I ignore it, okay? Okay. Now, we've done this. Only thing is that we didn't specify the URL, right? Yeah, for example, let's assume I'm calling this subroutine for many URLs. I'm talking about this subroutine test for correctness, right? If I call it for many URLs and one of the URL does not contain title, or title is empty, whatever, it reports title tag was not found, but it will not tell you which URL, right? So I have to add it here. Was not found for, and then I put this URL here. Okay. And here, value for title was not for this URL. Okay? So basically to know which URL was generated from that. Okay? More intelligent.
Mhm.
Just leaving it a little bit time to look at the code and make sure it's working. Sorry?
You have run code.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay. It should be exactly the same because we run it without subroutine.
Mhm.
Now it should run with subroutine. That's the only difference. And everything is okay, it should be okay. But I don't guarantee that there is no errors there. Okay, because I may make a mistake, it is
Mhm.
doable. That's why it's very important that you run the code. As soon as you change the code itself, you run execute it.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I might have a typo here, there. Okay, so if I run this, to save this guy and run this guy, as you see there, it says line
Mhm.
8. Line 8 somehow it's not. Ah, okay, that's a warning. This is the same warning I have. Okay, but it does not print anything, and it also returns 0. 0 means code executed correctly without any errors, but also I don't see anything printed, means that everything is okay. So it means that it's okay. So what happens here is that I have some black box, because you have to regard this subroutine as a black box, which you can send your URL to that black box, and that black box will tell you if it contains title or not, or if the title tag exists but the title is empty. Okay, this problem. Okay, make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so what we can do, we can actually start testing websites. Okay, make sense? So this is actually my test page, but we can definitely create some array of websites, and then we can test this website. So what I can do, I can say, instead of test page, we can say list of URLs, right? You can say array URLs. And then I can put this list, items into this list. We can put this yahoo.com. Go ahead and tell me another website.
Google.
Okay. Any other?
Memocast.
Okay. Okay. What else?
Portal.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay, right? So you can have hundreds of different sites. You can also have individual pages, because what happens is that we are getting the first page of this website, okay?
Mhm.
But you can specify any other web pages you like, no problem, okay? You can do that. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to iterate these URLs and then submitting one URL at a time, okay? So for that reason, I'm going to create a loop. Did we cover loop previously?
Mhm.
For each URLs. Basically, I'm iterating these URLs. I'm saying go ahead and test this tag for correctness, but I'm not just sending anyone, I'm sending the current URL. Okay? So that's what it is. So it basically will go and test these 4 sites and then see what it reports. Let me run it from the command line so it will be easy for you to see. That will be This is okay, it's all these four sides are perfectly okay from the point of view of time. Okay, so because nothing was printed. Done very quickly and efficiently. Okay, so it takes less than a minute. Okay, so it means that you can test thousands of pages in a very short period of time. Okay, very efficient. Okay. So next thing which I like to do is test for another tag, right? So what else we're looking for? We're looking for images, right? So let's create another subroutine because I don't like to clutter here. Okay. So I'm just here. I'm creating another subroutine. Test for correct image tag. Okay. In this case, I like to analyze images. Okay. So images, what are we looking for in images? We're looking for presence of alt tag. It's very important because people who have problems with the vision, they rely on software reading software. Software which can read the web pages, and this software cannot read the images. They cannot look at the images and say describe the image. What the software does, it goes into the HTML code, reads that alt attribute, and thus people can hear what this image is about. Okay, so that's what it's very important if we're going to specify alt attribute. Okay, it's not just luxury or whatever. Okay, it should be there. So in this case, I'm also saying this subroutine accepts one scalar variable. And here what I'm going to do, it's pretty much will be the same. I'm saying my page will be the very first parameter passed to the script. Okay. Now this one is essentially the following. This array already exists. We agree that this array this array is already existent for H2 subroutine. Now, do you remember the syntax how we create the very first item in the array, from the array? We didn't cover the function shift. We did that. Let's see. No, I think we had this one. What else? No, let's see. Okay, in that case, what we'll do here actually, we'll step back, okay, and we'll cover arrays because it's important in the sense that if you are going to analyze the Perl scripts, you should be able to realize what it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new test ground, okay. I'll call it up as test ground, save as. No, it's not here. Project. That will be test ground script, where we are going to play. Our test ground is already this, so that's what I'm doing. Maybe I will. This one. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ignore whatever is created in this script previously, and I'm going to say exit here. Okay. So this is new script. You can imagine that's a new script. What happens is that I can create an array, and I can say my array, okay, and then add some values here. I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Okay. This is an array. There are several functions existing for this array in Perl. Okay. Functions to add values, functions to retrieve values. So if I like to add value, I have two choices. I can add value at the beginning of the list, and I can add value at the end of it. I have two choices here. So in order to add value at the end, I'm using function push. I'm saying push. I specify the array. This will be my array. And then I have to specify the value, which would be, for example, 110. Okay? So in order to make sure that it's working, I have to print the array. But I don't like to print array S's because you are going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. That will be a long number. You are not going to distinguish individual items there. So what I like to do, I like just to put the array exactly as is, and the delimiter will be a comma. Okay, I'm saying print join. I'm specifying comma, and then will be array. Okay, so if I execute the script, we'll come back to the code just a sec. You see that items printed with array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and 110. So essentially, this 110 was added successfully at the end. Okay. Now, what this function join does, it basically grabs the items in the array, combines it with the one string, but with the delimiter which you specify. In this case, I specify comma, they are printed as a comma. If you like to specify different delimiter, it will print it differently. It's very convenient when you like to specify array, when you like to print the array, but don't like to use loop. Because look at the 3 lines of code, this is 1 line of code. Okay. So, write it down. Okay, ready? Okay, sounds good. Now, what I can do also, I can remove this last item from the array. Okay, I can add and I can remove, and that function will be pop. Okay, if I say pop array, this function removes this last item from the array, and that gives us that item. Okay. But in this case, I'm not interested in getting it and verifying whatever. But I know that the pop will remove the last item from the array. In this case, 110 will be removed. So in order to test that, I have to print the array again, right? Just to make sure that it works. But before that, I'd like to print new line characters, so it will be printed from new line. Okay. So what happens is that I have this initial array, which consists of these values. I'm pushing 110 value at the end of the array. Okay. After that, I'm using this function pop, which removes this last item. So it means that if I print the array again, 110 should not be there. Okay. So save this guy, execute this statement, this command, and you see indeed, first time it printed with the 110, second time 110 was not there. Okay, so essentially this pop works. Okay. Now, we got initial array at this line after pop. Okay. Now, this is what happens on the end of the array. What happens in the beginning of the array, right? What if I like to add item in the beginning of the array? I can do that. I can say shift. Shift function removes the first item from the array. I'm saying shift what it shift does, it basically should remove 1 from my array. So I'm going to print the array again. Okay? So what happens is that at this very line, line 9, I have initial array, as we've seen it here, like here. We added 110 and we remove 110. In this case, I am removing the very first item in the array. So I'm not expecting that 1 will be there, and I'm printing it. So if I execute this once more, you will see the item. So, we added 110, removed 110, but in this case we removed 1 at the beginning of the array. How we can add an item in the beginning of the array, because I showed you how we remove it. So how to add the array, that will be the command on shift. Shift, I specify the array, which array I'm working with. Right, and then I specify the item, which in this case will be A. Okay. Letter A, I can do that. No problem. And again, I like to print the array and see what happens. So in this case, what happens, I just remove 1 and add it at A. Okay. So if everything is done correctly, you are fine. Okay. So you see that we have here. This is array we added 110. This is removed. We removed 1. We added 1. We added A. Okay, so it works. So this is 4 functions which are useful to working with arrays. Okay. Now let's go back to.
Is it possible to remove a value in the middle? Not at the beginning, not at the end. Something in the middle, like still item.
No. What you can do. Not in Perl.
Okay.
No. You can chop the array, remove that, before getting the array before that value and after that, and then combining these 2 chunks together. That's what you can do, but not easy way. Okay.
So it's kind of like limitation.
Yeah, kind of limitation, yes. I have to browse and I have to get specific in Perl because in my head several languages are.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, no, it's not doable. Not in Perl. Said that, let's go and see how we can use this knowledge here. Okay. So essentially, what happens is that we're creating a new subroutine which is called test for correct image tag, right? So. And this is the code which we agreed that it will work, right? Because we're getting the very first item of the array. And we agreed that all parameters which are passed to the subroutine is this, placing this special array at underscore, okay? Now, what I need to get from this array, I need to get the very first item, right? Because this is a parameter passed, correct? How I get the very first item? We just covered. Which function should I use? Shift. So I have to use shift, and this will be the syntax for it, right? I'm saying give me the very first item from this shift, from this array. But what happens if I don't specify that array at all? I just delete this guy. It will work because Perl understands what array we are talking about, right? At this very moment, line 32, it might be only 1 array there, okay? Because I haven't declared any other array, right? So by default it realizes that, and then that will be very concise syntax, okay? It means that giving the very first item in the array. Said that, what I have to do now, I have to get the content of the page, because I'm passing the content, right, again, for looking for images. This works slightly different. I'm saying content equals get this page. Now, the situation here is slightly different from what we had in the previous case, in the sense that page can contain only 1 title. We know that. That's why I didn't search global. I'm just looking for the very first match and get it. But page can contain multiple images. Okay, so that's why my regex here, which I'm going to write, will be slightly different. Okay. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm saying. And also we should agree that a page may contain images, may not. If it doesn't contain images, it's not an error. If it doesn't contain title, it's an error. But if it does not contain images, that's perfectly okay. So that's why I should not report error in that case. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say match, please match for the following things. I'm saying go and match for, how I specify image? What's the tag? I know.
MG.
IMG, right? And then after that, that will be space, right? Because space. And after that, that will be any number of characters, but not zero counter, because you cannot have an image like this. And ended by angle bracket. Okay, that's the specification of the image. Now, and also I'm interested in all this, right? I'm not interested in image per se, but I'm interested in whatever attribute this image tag has, because image cannot come as is. It should have at least one attribute which specifies the source. Okay. So for that reason, I'm encapsulating this into the parentheses because I'm interested in this information. Correct? Now, next thing, what I have to do, I have to specify how I'm searching. Definitely it should be case-insensitive search. Definitely it should be single line because image specification might go on the several lines, okay? And also I like to get all images. So that should be come with the flag J. Okay, G, JIS, which means that make a global search, make a case-insensitive search, and please treat the incoming string as a one string, not as a multiple line text. Okay, that's what we do. And it's okay, it looks okay, but question is where these matches will be stored. Okay, because that might be potential 100 matches, and I'm running out of variables $1, $2, and so on. That will be very inconvenient to go. So these matches can be placed in an array straightforwardly. If I say my all images equals. So this construct will, what happens? Oh yeah. So this construct will retrieve the content of all image tags from your HTML code. One line of code, but a lot of work. Okay? So very cryptic, but this is how it is. It means the following. If you not to understand this syntax, you have to start from the right part. This part is a regular expression, which means looking for images. Okay? Essentially what image contains. And where I'm looking is this, wait a second. Okay. Where I'm looking in this cont. Cont is basically the HTML code of the page. Okay? Now, this part will look for image attributes, and all matches found will be placed automatically in this area. Okay? So essentially, you have to iterate through this area. And let's see how we can do that. Okay? So what we need to do. We need to iterate this array which contains chunks of the attributes. Okay, that's not a full image specification because I'm not looking for this in IMG. I'm not interested in this IMG letters. Okay, I'm interested in all attributes associated with this IMG. So in this case, I'm saying let's go and do that. I'm saying for each all images. What I'm looking, I'm saying if $_ does not match what I'm looking for. I'm looking for alt attribute, right? Say ALT, but not ALT because it might be other attribute which contains these three letters. So I'm saying I'm looking for the word ALT. So I have to specify these B's. B's stands for word boundaries. \p does not match anything. It comes as auxiliary, it's an additional information, but person itself, \p, does not match it. It basically means that I'm looking for separately standalone word alt. That's what it is. Okay. Is it true? Probably not, because this might be equal sign immediately attached to that, right? So it will not be the end of the alt. Okay. So I think that will be it. Okay, if I say alt, is it enough? So, alt might be followed either by space or equal sign, nothing else, right? That's what I have to say. So I'm saying looking for either equation sign or space, right? Something like this. But also you see that I'm looking for, I'm not looking for global. I can use definitely specify single line and case insensitive because alt attribute might be specified with capitalized, okay? Now, the only thing here is the following. You see that I'm using the parentheses, okay? As soon as I use parentheses, it will automatically create back references. It will start populating these dollars and dollars. Question is, am I interested in this value here? In other words, am I interested in equal sign or space? No. So what it means here that I'm saying, you know what, I'm using this parentheses, but please don't create back references. I'm not interested in that. In order to decouple from this behavior, you have to use this syntax. Question mark column, that will decouple from back references. Okay? Very cryptic, agree with you, okay? But that's what it is. And if say if it does not match this one, okay, if it's not a match, then what I have to say report an error, right? So print image in page does not have all attributes. That's what I'm going to say within, okay? That's what it is. So if it was working correctly, then it will detect all images which are not coming with the alt attributes. Okay, that's what it is. So if I print this guy, if I run this code, it should be doing something. But make sure that we have this code, this test for correct image function. Okay. Remember that we haven't tested it yet, so it looks great. Latest and greatest on the code, but it's not tested yet. Okay. So. Okay, time to test this guy, and I don't like to do it in. I don't like to run this all these URLs. I like to just basically test this code. I'm saying test for tag correctness. Not this one. Sorry. Test for correcting the image tag, and I like to pass one URL out of this list. Say which one will pass? Maybe memocast will pass. Let's see if the main page of the memocast contains some errors. Okay, let's see that. So, oh no, this is the wrong code. It's no code. This one. Yeah.
Oh.
You see, you have a lot of images which do not have alt attributes. Okay, so here's the two issues which we have. First of all, it does not say which image it is. We can definitely get it, there's no problem. But isn't it possible that I did something wrong? So before going and digging deeper into this guy, what do you think? But the question is the following. We have reported so many images do not contain alt attributes. We can definitely go and print the image name, we can go to the code and look into that. But before doing it, question is it possible that I have made some mistake in my code or anywhere else which may affect this error report? So, for example, So the only time when the image should avoid using alt attributes is the situation when image is used as a placeholder. Okay, it is used as a placeholder for layout purposes. Okay, typically it's an image which contains which is of the same color as a background, and typically it's a very small image. Okay, you don't see it visually because it's the same background. You cannot say it here. But that image typically has that image name typically is going as a spacer. Okay, so in other words, before reporting this as an error, I have to check if the image name is not spacer. Okay, but before doing that, let's see what this image is essentially. What its name? I'm saying print. This one. Okay, I'm printing the image actual attributes, including the source. That's what's most important for us, right? I'm printing everything so we can go and analyze visually if it's correct. Okay, so I'm going to execute it once more. Okay, and here's the example of it. It says top music media thumb 7 image in this one. You see the image names. It's an ID, but we also have some source. That's what I'm saying. So this is the source. Yeah. So let me grab that. Mark. Let's do that. Okay, let's capture it individually and see if it's correct or not. So this is this image. I'm not interested in this one. This one. Okay. Let's go to the browser. There's this one. Okay, this is the image. Okay, so this is correct there. View page source. No. Oh yeah, because okay. So I have to go to the MemoCast website. You remember the image? The image was this one, right?
Yes.
Page source, and then let's see, the image was this one. Just a second, I erase that. This one, okay. So I go to my this one. So I'm looking for image which is called like this. Okay. And if I navigate to the source, okay, this one. Okay. So does it have alt attribute? No. Which is about, right? Make sense? Okay, let's have a break. Okay. Now, we already figured out what this shift is. Okay. So essentially, this syntax allows us to get a very first parameter passed to the subroutine. We're fine with that. Now, what happens is that we executed this code which iterates all images specified on the web page, and we are checking that all images have alt attribute. Okay, looking for alt attribute. If it's not specified, then we are going to print this message saying, you know what, this imaging page does not have alt attribute, which is a defect that we have to report that. What we can also do, we can check if the image name is not equal to spacer, because typically there are images which are placed for spacing reasons or for layout reasons in the HTML page. These images are called spaces. Typically they are very small, maybe say 1 pixel by 20 pixels, very small images, and the color is the same as the background, so you don't see them visually. These images do not require data attributes. Okay, so skip, but in general speaking, we have to do that. So when I execute this code, you see that it reported a lot of images, and this lot of images, they have only image source. Source should be there because otherwise image will not be able to be shown, because this is absolute minimum required attribute. In addition to that, it has ID. In this case, it says, for example, you see there's a long ID, which might be useful for testing purposes, but it's completely useless for user point of view, from user point of view. User is definitely more interested in the alt attribute. Alt attribute is also very important because if for some reason this image is not there, okay, maybe its name has changed, or HTML page changed, or it's placed in a different folder, or we don't have access to that folder, then instead of the image which you are going to see here, instead of that image, you are going to see the text of that alt attribute. Okay, saying, you know what, for example, the text will be this one, or maybe it's part portion of the annotation. Okay. Now, bottom line is alt attribute is important. Okay. So we're going to do that. But the next thing which I like to do also is to check for image height and width specified in HTML code. Because this is also important. For example, these images, if you don't specify correct height and width, which matches the actual size of the image, then we are going to see distortion of the image. Because browser, when it reads the HTML code, it reads the height and width, whatever is specified in the HTML code. And it goes and preserves that space in a page, in a web page. Now, if the image actual size does not match that space, the image is going to be distorted because browser will take all efforts to squeeze that image into the either shrink or expand to make it into this space, and that image might be distorted. Okay, one pixel difference may play a role. Okay, so you have to be very, very attentive to that. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to check if the attribute is specified correctly. Okay, so this is the code. I'm saying if does not match in this case I'm looking for the following quotes. Width, also case insensitive, simple match, or alternatively again, this \b means the word boundary. It means that I'm expecting to be space before height and width. Okay. So again, after that, I'm going to be the space or equal sign, but I'm not testing for that. Okay. I'm saying if this condition is not true, then I have to report it. Okay. I have to say image does not have width and height attribute. Okay, so width and height, that's short form. Again, this looks great, latest and greatest, but we'll have to test it. Okay. So and again, I'm testing on one URL only for this one. Okay, I'm not testing for all because other sites may also develop a lot of errors. We're only interested in this one. Okay. Now, if I do this, here if I do this code, yeah, it's 51. I made an error here. Let's see where I'm here.
51 is plus 1.
Let's see, where is that?
It's on.
Oh yeah. This is garbage. Yeah, you see this all this information is printed here. It does not have attributes and it also should report about attribute. Does it report that?
Probably all of them themselves.
No, It's not specified. It means that
Why we put the backslash B? It means that before the weight and height, we expect the space. You
no,
say.
backslash B stands for word boundary.
Boundary, right?
Boundary of the word. Okay?
Yeah.
Typically it's a space, but I don't like to specify space because I don't like the space will be matched.
Right.
Okay? Because it might be tagged. Okay?
Okay.
I'm not looking for any specific character, but I'm saying, you know what? I'm looking that a word would start. I mean, there will be separate word start with V. Okay? That's what I'm looking for. This one is not printed. If it does not contain. Okay. Did I save this guy? Where do I save this? Let's see. Next this. Does not have all attributes. All attributes are printed. Okay. Let's see. Something's wrong. Let's see.
Probably there is word width and height, but there is not anything empty size like 0.
This is
or
the HTML code. Oh, height is here. Width and also here.
not.
Yeah. But this is not as a separate word. You see that this is actually part of the image ID. Okay. This is not the actual image. So that means that boundary did not work in this case. So you have to specify as a space. Okay. So. Very strange why I didn't, but nevertheless. So let's see, if I execute it once more. Yeah, in this case it works. This is just, this does not have width and height attribute. Okay? You have tons of information, also including alt attribute, including width and height. Okay, so that's correct. So to be more exact, I have to also put that after that I'm expecting with the space or equal sign, as I did in this case. But I don't like to clutter in other version. Now, this makes okay, works okay, but you don't like to run this script as is because you realize that if it generates so many errors for one side, and if I'm testing one page, if I'm testing 100 pages, this information might be too big. Okay, so too big, and running it every time and copying and pasting and reporting, big headache. Okay, it'd be much nicer if I put this in a log file. Okay, much nicer. So, have we ever created work file with the Perl? We did, right? We haven't done it. So it's time to do that. So I'm going to create another subroutine for working with work files. So I'm going to say sub log message into file. Okay. So this subroutine accepts also one scalar that will be the message which I'm going to pass. Okay. And let's see what I can do. So this this subroutine is responsible for getting a message, whatever message you like to load, and put in a log file. Okay. So how I work with the file? So when you're working with Windows system, you simply open a Windows Explorer like this, and then open some file here, okay, like this one. Either double click on it, or if you create a new text file, say new text document, you do it here, so it works perfectly and you don't need to worry about anything else. When you work with the files programmatically, it's very important that you tell computer what your intentions are, what are your intentions are. So why you create file and why you, how in which mode you open it. In other words, you have to tell operation system in advance what you have in your mind. Are you going to write into that file, create new file, or basically going to append that file, or if you are going to just open that file for reading purposes. And that's very strict, because if you're opening a file for reading purposes and to declare that, operation system is not going to allow you to write something into that file, okay? Now, if you open it in the write mode, for example, say I'm going to work with this file in the writing mode, I'm going to add something to that file, then you have to be very clear saying what is your goal. You are going to erase the content of the file and start anew, or you are going to basically append to the last line of that file and keep appending that. So you have to be very specific with that. In this particular case, if I'm going to put some messages into the log file, I like to put in append mode, okay? So here how it works. If you work with a file, you definitely open a file, and then opening a file is done using function open, okay? Now open opens any file, provided it's a textual file, okay? Because it's a binary, you are going to get failed. There are functions for opening and working binary files as well, but this is outside of the scope of this class, okay? So when you open a file, essentially you have to keep in mind that opening operation is low-level operation. It's definitely much lower compared with Windows Explorer. For example, if I go to the Windows Explorer and then opening or double-clicking on this file or deleting the file, I'm going to work on a high level, and then all the rest of the operations, whatever is necessary to do, operation system, core of operation system takes care of that. Okay. When we use programmatically, when you say open with Perl, you're going on a lower level. It means that you have to do additional stuff rather than simply double-clicking a file and saying create this file with that. First of all, operation system does not allow you to work directly with the file system. Okay, you don't have access directly to the hard drive where you're going to open the file. So this is done through the broker, to the brokerage system, and then what happens is that operation system assigns it to your broker, okay, saying this will be your broker, and any operations you like to do with the file system will be done through this broker, okay, not directly. That would be a big security risk, okay, actually it's a source of all kind of errors and big mess. Now, it will create a broker. That broker will have very complex name, very big name, okay, that's very inconvenient to use. What operation system allows you to do that is just give a nickname to that broker and operate with that nickname, okay? So you have to give a nickname to that broker, any nickname you like, okay? Typically, nickname will be FH, but you have any way you can think about TD or whatever. It might be many letters as well, okay? So, but it's a good idea to put a couple of letters, okay, not very big. But there is no restrictions. So you specify the broker, that would be your broker nickname, okay? Any operations you are going to do with the file, you are going to do with this broker, okay? After that, you specify the file which is going to contain your messages, whatever you like. So in this case, I'm saying that will be C, for example, test, Perl, load, file, sample load. Okay. You also can get the current date and time if you're interested in. We can create a file name based on the current date and time. It is also doable. We can do that. Okay, no problem. Now, in this way, if you don't specify any operation mode here, Perl assumes that you're opening this file for reading purposes. Okay, you haven't specified anything else here. So, but this is not our goal, right? Our goal is just to open a file, create a file where we are going to write something. Okay. In that case, we have to be very specific to that. We say, you know what, this file we are opening in append mode. Okay. In order to do that, you have to append this file name with the 2 angle brackets, which means that this is append mode. Okay. This is the mode of operation. Now, said that if we execute this command, there is no guarantee that this command passes. Okay, because folder ctest might not be existing. We may not have access to that folder, or maybe other conditions as well. Or maybe this file exists, but it's used by other applications, whatever. We may have several possibilities of error. And if it happens, if error happens, it means that Perl is not capable of writing something into this file, nothing will happen. Okay? Perl simply will die silently and without screaming, without showing error messages, without anything. So what it means that the following. All operations which you do, you have to check the result. Okay? Perl requires that, because if you don't, it simply will die, but it will not do the operation, okay? So it means the following, say if this operation fails, okay, I have to get a result what it does, right? I'm saying my result equals open, okay? So that's what it means. So if open succeeded, it will turn to true. If it fails, it will turn only false, okay? And here I'm saying that if not result, if essentially not result, then what I have to do is basically say better, okay? Because I cannot do this message, right? So you see that this syntax is a little bit complex here because for checking the result, I have to use 4 lines of code, okay? So I'm talking about lines 53, 54, 55, and 56, okay? This is a little bit complex, okay? People definitely like to use shortcut format. So shortcut will be the following. I'm saying, I'm deleting this result. I'm saying, try to open this file, and if it doesn't, if it fails, then I'm saying, or die. It will be cannot open file or append. Now, that's one thing. Second is that, okay, I'm saying, okay, if you cannot open this file, please print this message. Either execute this one or die. That essentially stops the execution of the program, but in this case I can say born or is eternal help. Now, but this message will be printed, but this message will not be informative because it will not tell you the reason why this file reading, file writing operation failed, right? But that's what's crucial for you because you cannot guess why it failed. You have to have very exact information what happened there. And this information Perl actually stores in a special variable which is called error variable. It's built in, you don't need to declare it. That variable name is this one, okay? $! Exclamation mark. It's one variable, not two. This variable will contain information about the error, what exactly happens. Either directory does not exist, or you don't have permissions there, or whatever, okay, or operation failed, creation of a file. So, now if this file does not exist, it will be created. If it already existed, then it will simply be, new information will be appended at the end. It's very convenient, okay? That. Now, in this case, if operation fails, I'm not going to be able to write anything to it, but assuming that it's passed, then the next thing I like to do, I'm saying, printing something at the end of that file, right? Basically, a log message. I'm saying print, and again, by using the broker, our broker, who is responsible for working with our the file system, I'm saying dd, and then I'm saying message. Okay? And after that, I'm done that, I have to close the file, because if you don't close, broker will be open, and it will consume memory, and if you have several files open, you may crash the system. Okay? So I have to say close, in this case. Okay? Now, computer complains because message is hanging. I haven't declared the message yet, but that message will be the information, the message which I'm passing to this file. Make sense? So again, I have to declare this message, and I have to use shift syntax. This in before. I'm saying my message equals shift. Okay, that will be the first parameter which I pass. This parameter will be message. Okay, and that message will be logged into this file. Okay, make sense? I'll give you time to write it down.
So it can create the file even a cursor if directory doesn't exist, we will create.
Directory, it will not create directory.
Okay,
the
It's
file
up to you.
itself.
Yes.
I feel, I understand.
Other programming language will do that for you, but not this one. So you have to make sure that a C test exists. You can do that programmatically yourself, but if you don't like to do that, essentially open operation will fail until you get a message saying, you know what, I cannot find this directory. Okay, that will be the error message. You can try that. We can create. Actually, we can do that. Yeah, we can say. But I can put this directory which definitely does not exist, and we have to test. We have to test that this subroutine works before putting it into production. I'm going to test the subroutine and see what happens, okay, in this case. Make sense? So, done? Done? Okay, excellent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to test this code. I'm commenting this one because this is actually generating a lot of errors here. I'm going to say log message into the file. And I'm passing essentially the word test. Okay. So I'm saying go ahead and execute that. Let me put this comment marks here. So this is okay. So I'm saying go ahead and log message into the file, and I'm loading this particular message test. Okay. So if everything works okay, my file should contain word text. Okay. So if I save this guy, go here. You see that error message says cannot open file for append, no such file or directory at C program file, blah blah blah. Okay. So pretty informative message, no problem, as it works. So it means that this folder doesn't exist, but I'm not sure about C test. Let's see if it works for the C test. Okay. So I'm going to send test. No problems here. This is a warning. This is not the error. So it means that if I navigate to the C test, it should contain this one, which is test. Okay. So it is there. What I forgot to do is, I like to put at the end of the message, I like to put new line character, okay? So it will look nicer, okay, at the end of this each message. So this is actually polishing it. This is okay. Let's do it. Let's put it in production because it's working, right? So I'm just deleting this guy. I know that it works. So what I like to do is I like to check the memo cast, but instead of printing these messages, all these messages here, I don't like to be printed on a page. So I like to say, okay, I'm saying, what message into the file? Okay. So simply use this one, not the same. I don't need this one. So it's actually extra, necessary extra. And I don't like this either. That will be the error message which otherwise was printed on a screen. Okay. So if I execute this guy, in this case I'm not going to see anything on the screen, but all information will be printed in a log file. Sounds good. Let's do that. Yeah. See, it's nothing is here. But if I open C test and look at the log, this is this one, right? So all information is here. Let me change the font a bit smaller so you can see nicely. No log. Okay. See nicely
Nice.
here. So this information you can attach to the bug report and actually make some people unhappy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, this is definitely nice. Said that, we agree that this is working. Okay, so this is correct way of doing it. Okay. Now, next thing which I like to do, I like to slightly modify this guy because imagine the following situation. This sub message into the file, this log message into the file, may looks okay, but if you execute this code many times, let's say every day, every time you get a build, it might be several times a week, then the log file will be very much flooded, okay? So then you will not be realized where is the beginning of the previous build, where is the starting of the next one. Definitely you can put some separator between them, but it's not convenient. So you have to take care that every time before you start the test, it will print a line down there. That's not nice. So it will be much nicer if we actually create a file dynamically instead of hard-coding parallel file here. We put dynamic file, and file name will consist of a current date and time. Okay, that will be much nicer. For example, instead of say having a parallel file here, like this, we will have, for example, 2014, say 11:10, and that will be say 21, 15, 15, for example, something like this. Okay. So in that case, it is actually beneficial for two reasons. First of all, it will automatically take care of the unique file name. Okay, you'll have a lot of files, each with a unique name, and also it will take care of the date and time when you run the script. Okay, so much nicer. Now, how we do that? So how we do this guy here? Let's see. This can be done the following way. I'm creating a separate routine which will take care of that, okay, which will generate at this time. So I'm saying sub get get date timestamp. That's what it is. That's a date and timestamp. Okay. This information can be retrieved from operation system if we use function which is called local time. Okay, I'm saying I have to test it because I believe it's so. My parts equals local time. Okay, local time is actually also a specific function. So did I talk about the context? We talk about the context, right? So local time also can work in both contexts. It's a scalar context and the array context. In a scalar context, it will return you a string which says Monday, November 10th, 9:20, blah 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 seconds. Okay. In a scalar, in an array context, it will return you array consisting of year, month, day, hour, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Daytime saving zone, day of the week, day in a year, it might be say 320, whatever, and I think that's pretty much it. But also keep in mind that the month will start from 0, so January will be month number 0. Okay, so you have to increment by 1 to get a meaningful month. Okay, so as much as I remember that, let's double check that. Okay, but I'm almost 100% sure that it's local time. So I'm saying print join so I'm going to test this get date timestamp. Okay, just make sure that it prints correct. Okay. So in this case, I'm saying this is working. For correct image type is working. So I'm saying this one. Let's go into this. Say if it's working okay. Yeah, it gives me this information. Actually, today is day number 313. This is we're on the daytime zone. Okay, the last was daytime zone. Okay, so let me copy this guy. So what happens is that I'm going to paste here. That will be this one. So what it means? So 422, 22, 21. That will be. Let's see how to put this. This is year plus 1900. This is month, decremented by 1 because we start month with 0. This is day. This is hour, minutes, seconds.
It's kind of like
Other way around. Yeah. So I'm saying. Okay, my part of the working time. So what I'm going to say my year equals, the year will be, which part will be for the year? Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This will be 5, so actually that will be 14, I have to add 1900. This is from Unix, coming from Unix, you have to implement that 1900. That's okay, I'm saying my month equals this one plus 1. Yeah, because month, it starts from the 0, we have to increment by 1 to get another reasonable one. Since we have, our current month has 2 digits, it's actually 10 to 11, it doesn't matter. But if it's, for example, March and April, month will come as a single digit. If we like to make it nice formatting, we'll have to take care of that and prepend with a 0. But I'm not doing it now, okay? So I'm saying my day equals, that will be, day will be 3, right? This will be this one. That will be 3. Okay. My hour equals, R will be this one, number 2. Again, if the hour is less than 2 digits, we have to prepend with a 0, but I'm not skipping that one. Okay. So, and then my minute equals part 0, or part 1. And second, definitely have to. Second, exactly, you see that it's 1 digit, okay? So, but that's okay. So, that's how it works. Okay, sounds good. Now, I like to return a string which contains your date and timestamp. Saying, instead of printing that, I'm not interested in printing. Saying return, saying year, adding the month, adding day, then adding underscore, right? Because I like to separate date, month, and year, month, and date, underscore, and then hour and the same. It's up to you. You can remove the score if you don't like it. Say hour, minute, okay. Sounds good. That's how it is. Now let's see if it's working. I still have this get date and timestamp. It should print that. Actually, before return, I'm saying print, just to make sure that it's working. Okay, before returning. So going here, we're getting 2014, 11/10, 21, 26, 56.
Wow.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. Okay, we get this date and timestamp. So in other words, my log file will contain this information. Okay. This is good. Problem here is the following. This is okay, this is working, I'm saying return. You see that log file, if you go to this one, let's do that first, okay, log file. I'm saying this part should be dynamically generated, right? So I'm basically ignoring this guy, removing this part. Okay, and I'm saying my with this stamp equals get date and timestamp. Because this function get date and timestamp will give me the log. Okay. So after that, I can say tt stamp. Please use this tt stamp in my code. Okay. So that will be okay. Now this will work. But the question is that problem is that every time I'm calling this log file, it will go and create new generated log file because the seconds are there, right?
Yeah.
So this is not good. Okay. So I can definitely remove seconds there, relying only hour and minutes, but if I execute this script another minute, that would be another code. Okay. So this is not good. What I like to do is just like to generate this log file once and for all, and after that use that same file which is executed. Okay. Otherwise, let's do that. Let's see how it works. Just before. So if I go, let me see if I have. This is actually creating this guy and saying test correct image tag. This one. This method, this subroutine contains a lot of logging functions. Okay. So if I do this and execute this guy. Okay. Now if I go to the C test, only one. Okay. I'm lucky because it created within everything is within one very quickly in 1 second. But if it takes time, then it will be different data time stuff. Okay. In this case, everything was logged in 46 seconds. But if I have something else, then you're going to see the second log. I can introduce that specifically programmatically right here. Correct image one, this one. You see that I have two error messages, and this actually logging something into the log file. What I'm going to do, I'm introducing sleep function here. So basically, it checks for image for alt attribute, and after a couple of seconds, it checks for height. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm saying sleep. 2 seconds here. Okay. In this case, it will check the alt attribute and then check for. 2 seconds later, it will check for height. Okay. So if I do this, in that case, there is no guarantee that it will be the same log file. Let's see. In this case, it takes a while because we are introducing 2 seconds delay between each check, right? And we have tons of checks there, so I hope it will be done within half a minute. Meanwhile, we're going to test yeah, see, I got tons of evidence. Okay, so I essentially can stop the script execution, and you see this is not acceptable. Okay, because these log files differ by 2 seconds each. Okay, and every time it's a different date and timestamp, so I'm not going to get it correct. Okay, so this is not good. So I'm going to delete that and saying that this is not good. Now, what we can do here, we can do the following. We can, at the beginning of the code here, I can specify this log file, how it will be called, okay? And once it's defined here, I'm going to use exactly the same date and timestamp, doesn't matter what later, okay? So I'm saying my log file name equals, what we can do is say get date and timestamp, right? That's it. I use only once, okay? And I'm using this variable throughout my code. Okay. So this date and timestamp is okay. I'm removing this one because it's not needed. I don't need to generate it every time. New. Here I'm going to use this one. Because it's generated only once, the graph at the beginning of the script, and then we're erasing it. I'm not getting the date and timestamp every time I need to log something. Now if I execute this code, you see that in this case situation will be different. This is okay. So you see if I open the page, it still contains only one file, and this file is growing, it will be growing for the time. So it's 1 kilobyte, but it will be growing because, let's see. Okay, 2, 121. Okay, so it's growing, but it's only will be one low file, okay, not a different file. Okay. Sounds good. Let me stop the execution, and then it will open this work file. We see the same story happens here, but in this case that will be one log file. Okay. So it means that this log file name will be generated only once when you start setup. Okay. Okay, done this. So very useful code, actually, for doing it. And now all errors we can log into this. Okay. Log message into the file, you can regard it as a kind of a black box. So this we have some black box. Every message you put there in the black box, this black box is going to write that message into the file. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay. This is correct image type. Let's correct delete that. Okay, so bottom line is this code allows you to test HTML code very efficiently and load all of the findings into the log file with the data timestamp.
So when we open the file and have this attribute append, it means that it's already have all the attribute writable and readable.
No. So when you have, let me see, what is that? Okay. This one, okay, talking about this attribute. So what happens is that we're talking about this flag, okay, because this means the append mode, okay. So this means the following: if the file does not exist, it will be created. And you've seen that because we didn't have a file with the date and timestamp, okay. So it will basically will create it. If the file is already there, as it happens when we start logging the messages, and you see that the second and all the messages after the second one will logging into the existing file, right? So the previous message is not deleted. It's basically we are going to log in append mode, okay? Now, if we don't do that, then all previous messages will be deleted. I'm going to demonstrate it for you. I changed this into the write mode. So if I execute the code, let me delete this 2 seconds delay, otherwise we'll be sitting here for long. This will do, okay? I'm commenting this code, okay? Now, if I execute this code now, you are not going to see any messages there except one line, okay? So this is this one, which executed 936, 936. If I open this file, you see on the last message, but all previous messages will be promptly deleted. Okay, that's a write mode, which you don't like to do it in this case, because you don't like to keep only the last message, right? You like to keep all messages. That's why it's appropriate to use append mode. This one. Append mode is this 2 angle brackets. Writing mode is 1 angle bracket, and reading mode is nothing. It's a default one. Okay. If you don't specify anything like this, that will mean that you are going to work in opening in reading mode. Okay. So it means that we are telling the operation system, please go and open this file for reading. Now, if you do that, it means that we have to make sure that the file exists. If it doesn't exist, you cannot read it, that will be an error. If you are writing into the file might not be existing, okay, it's okay. We've seen that, okay, file does not exist, we created a file with that date and timestamp, and we created that. So we have to keep that in mind, okay. So both these modes, appending and writing mode, will create a file, but not the directory. Directory will not be created. Okay, make sense? Okay. So done with this? Okay, no questions? Okay. So this code definitely can improve. You can instruct this code to test your all your tags, alt attributes, or anything you may think about, okay? And you see that this is working very quickly and intelligently. So if you, for example, it also might be possible you go to the company and they don't say, go to the website and test this file, okay? They can say, we have all these websites file on the local disk or somewhere on the network drive. So this syntax, get this one, okay? Not necessarily you specify the URL here, you can specify also file location, okay? So local file, it will work the same, doesn't matter, okay? So don't think that you have to grab file over the internet from the web server necessarily. You can do it, you can do it from local directory or from network, okay? So it works in the time that way. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so next thing which I like to do is just before we close this class is about a couple of words about the array. So, for example, in this case, I have these array items manually, right? But what if I like to generate the range? Okay, you don't need to see. For example, if I need to have numbers between 1 and 100. I don't need to sit and type whatever 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need to create a loop. It's done very quickly. It's not like this. 1, dot, dot, 100. This is the special operator dot, dot, which will create a range. Okay. In this case, my array will contain 100 values. Okay. If you'd like to test it, go ahead. Let's go and let's do test ground, and you'll see that. You see that?
Wow.
Oh, yes, all numbers.
Right
So,
away.
if you forgot what's coming after, for example, 12, number 13, whatever, you can print that, and they will remind you. Now, that is a joke. Yeah, you can do that. It's very easy and very efficient way of doing it. Okay? Instead of going and populating array that way, you can simply specify a range operator like this, and you have 100 integers. So this is one thing. So the last thing which I like to touch is actually randomness, because quite often we need to generate random values. And for example, random first name, random last name. I like also to show how to create a CSV file containing random information, pretty much like it is done here. That will be. So this is done with JavaScript, but pretty much it can be done with languages. So if you click here, keep clicking on this button, you see that this random personal information is generated every time. So random phone number, email address, social security, and DRP. Quite often you need to do this just to generate register person, whatever. How to do that? How to generate random name and all this stuff. Okay, so it's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just this is an illustration. Okay, so I'm going to let's see if I can take it. This I'm putting here. So this is new script. You can consider as a master new script. So what I can do here, I can do create a subroutine. Say generate random name. Okay. So and this subroutine will return you this random person name. So what I can do is I can create a string, say my str, which contains alphabetic string, say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever you can. Off that here. So if you have a drink and drive and police stops you, and you don't feel comfortable to pass this physical test, whatever they ask you to do, one of the tests is just write all alphabets, okay? So,
That just means if you did not pass.
Sorry?
That this means if you are not passing the test.
Yeah, because they pay attention to how you write, how accurately you write and so on, okay? So it's better to know the alphabet, in other words. Now, what happens is that I like to split this array, get the random characters here, okay? For example, what I'm doing here, I'm saying my letters equals split, and then I'm splitting my STR. So what I'm splitting is I'm splitting on empty space. It means that this array will contain all letters, okay? All letters. Definitely I can do also lowercase letters as well, but let's capitalize first. Now after that, I like to just select random letters here. Where I'm saying my letter is equal random, and here I have to specify the range, okay? I can specify for example, 12. It means that it will generate the character between 0 and 12, okay? Now, what I like to do, I just like to get the random letter from here, okay? Now, in this case, I have to specify the number of items in this array, right? So instead of just 12, I just put this random number of this array. So in this case, random letter will be equal to any number which goes between 0 and number of letters I could specify here, okay? That will be. But I'm not interested in a number, I'm interested in the character, right? So in that case, I can use this syntax. I can say letters using the index, okay? In this case, I'm going to get random letter out of this range, okay? In order to test that, let's do that. Let's say, test this code. We'll come back to the code in a sec. Okay. Same thing. Okay. Something like this. So that will be test ground. Okay. It's selected by letter D. Okay. If I execute once more, it will be M, and so on. Essentially, it randomly selects a letter from this one. How this code works? First of all, I have the array, and the array, you know that it's kind of a do. Depending on the context, it returns you different information. In an array context, it will return you all these letters which are specified here. In a scalar context, if I assign to the scalar, it will give me the number of items in the array. So that's what it does. So in this case, I'm expecting a scalar context. In this case, it gives me the value. And this random function will generate any integer which goes between 0 and that value of number of items, okay? An exclusive maximum number. So if I have 15 numbers here, random function will give me between 0 and 14, okay? Now, this will be the index of this array, okay? I'm saying array, give me index, a randomly selected index out of this array, okay? In this case, a random letter will be like this, okay? Now, very useful. What I can do here, I can use the syntax to generate random name, correct? So in this case, it means that I have to execute this code maybe 5 times, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say for I equals 0. I'm going to declare I less than, say, 5. I'm going to execute the code 5 times. So generate random letter each time, and I have to add the some variable. So I'm going to declare this variable. I'm saying my. First I have to declare I, right? And also have to declare name, right? Which will contain the name of the person. But name I have to instantiate before doing any operation. I'm saying name equals empty string, otherwise it will not work. So what happens here is that every time I generate random letter, I append to the name. Okay, so otherwise I'm going to lose it. So I put okay. I'm saying name equals this random letter. So this function should print name at the end. So in this case, I expect to see 5-letter name, okay, randomly selected. So if I save this guy, see what happens here. Why it doesn't? Oh yeah. Oh, that's correct. Should be comma. So if I do this. So this is the random name, AJJGN, okay? So, okay. Okay. So, but this is not a name. Because name typically starts with a capital letter, followed by all lowercase letters, right? So what I can do, I can use the special functions here in Perl, which can say, say name equals uppercase first. Okay. So it means that it will give me the yes, all letters are lowercase, uppercase first. So if I execute this one, no, it doesn't do that. I have to lowercase all letters first. I have to say, I have to make all lowercase letters first. So it means that after this one. Let's see, lowercase first now. And after doing that, let's see. Yeah, this is correct. Okay, so that this is actually more or less, okay, like first and first and last. Okay. Similarly, you can generate last name. Similarly, you can generate zip codes, phone numbers, address here, there, and then you can also put into the CSV file. That will be exported into Excel spreadsheet, which might be very, very useful in different testing scenarios. So here's the code, if you're interested. Okay. So we can work on the code once more. So what you can do, you can create a string, there's actually a scalar value, and put all alphabets letters here. You don't need to put in both cases because we have functions which will lowercase and uppercase later on. Okay, no big deal. After that, you split this scalar value into the individual letters. And you see that the boundary between the individual letters is nothing. It's kind of a vacuum, right? So if you split based on that vacuum, you are going to see an array which contains all these letters as individual items, not as one string. Okay, so basically we are going to see first item is A, second is B, C, and so on. Next thing, I like to randomly select one letter. Okay, this can be done using this syntax, the following. Function random generates randomly picks item. Randomly generates integer between 0 and the maximum integer which is specified here. But in this particular case, I specified not the hard-coded value. I specified number of items in this array. Okay, so it generates that random index, randomly selected index, and I use this construct randomly selected index to select the random letter. Okay, because this syntax will give me the randomly selected letter from the array. Okay, I have to repeat this operation several times. In this my case, it's 5 times, but also can make it this value also random. For example, in that case, if for example, you like to say, I'd like to generate first name, which will range between 3 characters and 10 characters. Okay, so that will be also randomly floating kind of. doable, okay? I would not like to complex the code unnecessarily. So every time you generate a random letter, you have to append to some other variables, otherwise it will be lost, okay? This is syntax for appending, okay? So this is a shortcut syntax. I can put it in a long form, so it will be easy for you to understand. I can say name equals name append this one, okay? This is the long form, okay? You see that variable name equals the current value of name added another letter added to it, okay? So and this will be new value, okay? So this is the long form, this is the short form, okay? So we've done this. After that, I just lowercase all letters in that string, absolutely all lowercase. It's a function LC, lowercase. And then after that, I use function uppercase first, okay, which makes the specifically uppercase first letter uppercase, okay. You realize that this might be very useful for testing purposes, okay. So and after that, I just print the name, and then we execute this function. And then generate. And every time I run this, you see that the random name is generated. 5 letters of that. Okay. And it's your responsibility to make sure that not bad word is generated. Okay. you can create a code for that. So any questions?
So if you just put the whole alphabet in uppercase, then you have to just use the lowercase first, then you have to just
Uppercase first.
uppercase.
Yeah. Lowercase, all letters lowercase, because LC makes all everything lowercase. Yeah. You have also a corresponding function UC, which makes this uppercase all. But in this case, I like to make lowercase all. Okay. And after that, after done this lowercase first, I'm just basically saying UC first, which is uppercase first. Okay. First case first letter uppercase for this scalar, and then printing it.
And can I put loop in the loop to create a lot of names?
Oh yeah, but you don't need to put a loop in a loop. What you need to do, you need to generate, I mean, you need to generate this function, or actually call this function many times. I'm going to show you how. So I'm saying my, for example, iterator, okay? This will be variable iterator, okay? I can say for iterator equals 0, iterator less than, for example, 100.
Right. This is what we meant.
Yeah, iterator plus, okay? In this case, what you can do, you can just, okay, let's do that. So you run this code. Yeah, I see this. Let me put new one character, so it will be name. Okay, so if you execute this code, you see that we have all these names generated, as many as you wish. Okay, no problem. Make sense? Okay, let's count up on this stage. So any questions, please ask. So you have recordings, video, you can watch. All yours.
Can we just send the question by email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good luck.
David, thank you.